Hey guys, Puzzled War here, coming at you with my updated Kairyu-Shin control deck for the month of October 2023. We're back, boys. This deck is actually really good right now in this format. With Unchained, Branded, and Rescue Ace, this deck's pretty good. Like I said, the format I feel has slowed down to a point where I think I could run this deck competitively again. This is my baby. I love this deck. So, like always, if you guys don't care for a long video, you guys can always click the deck image down below. But if you guys care about my ratios and me kind of explaining a couple of the cards, well, stick around. And yes, I'm doing a Kairyu-Shin deck profile on top of a Kairyu-Shin map. Let's go. So, we are going to be running, oops, messed up the cards here for a little bit. We're going to be running 3 Ocean Dragon Lord Kairyu-Shin. Okay, this is basically the way you win the game. Okay, so Kairyu-Shin essentially states that while Umi's on the field, you both players can only control one face-up non-water monster. So it's almost like a walking Gozen, and that is an on summon. So like literally as it touches the field, your opponent automatically has to choose. So please keep that in mind. I'm going to then keep going. 3 electric jellyfish. If this is the ocean dragon lord, this is the ocean dragon squire, because having these 2 cards on the field is kind of what you want. Electric jellyfish, its Umi effect is that while Umi's face up on the field, you can quick effect negate a spell or a monster effect your opponent activates. Just negate it, don't destroy, and then this card gains 600 attack and defense. It also has a non-Umi effect, so all the Umi cards have Umi effects and non-Umi effects. Kairyu-Shin's non-Umi effect is the fact that it allows you to search during the main phase, so it allows you to search for a Kairyu-Shin Speller Trap, Umi Speller Trap, or a Sea Stealth Speller Trap. Electric Jellyfish lets you pitch an Umi as cost, either from the deck, hand, or face up on the field, and to special summon a water monster from your hand. That is the cost, so if you're under Shifter, you cannot activate this effect because it states to the graveyard. Please keep that in mind. And for the last of the Umi cards, I am running the 1 Mega Fortress Whale. So I'm going to talk about these ratios real quick. Obviously, the 3 Dragon Lord is always going to be a staple. The 3 Electric Jellyfish is always going to be a staple, at least in Umi control. And then the 1 Mega Fortress Whale. So I wasn't running it in previous builds, but this card is way too much of a powerhouse, and it's way too easy of a setup to not run, in my opinion. Just the fact that you can easily plop this down, even if you draw, you can special summon it off Electric Jellyfish, and then during your opponent's battle phase, you have a quick effect pop, and then it also has an effect that during the main phase, you can have all your water monsters you control be able to attack directly that turn. That's a lot of damage. A lot of my normal boards, if you guys have played this deck before, is usually Kairyu-Shin, Electric Jellyfish, and Mega Fortress Whale, and usually Electric Jellyfish already has a negate, so that's already 2,000, plus Umi, that's an extra 200. You know, so it's at 22, this is at 22, and this is at 2750. That is a lot of damage, and this card has really saved me a lot during time. I'm trying to be as competitive as possible, therefore I want to try to minimize bricks as much as possible. On Dueling Book, I've had a lot of success with this deck, so I am going to stick with this deck probably for the entire month, see where I'm at, and maybe, you know, kind of revamp it, I guess. So I really feel comfortable with this, with the deck that I put together, at least. So Mega Fortress Whale is the last of the Umi cards. It's just really, really good card. I'm not running Doom Kraken. I think Doom Kraken, even though it is a good card, it requires way too much, way too much setup that it's not worth it, and you have enough cards that can basically almost do the same thing. So for the support, the water support, we are running the 1 Warrior of Atlantis. This deck lives and breathes by its field spell. It lives and breathes by Umi. So therefore, you need to have Umi. You don't have to run Warrior of Atlantis. You can run an additional copy of Sea Stealth 2 if you like. The only reason why I think you should run Warrior of Atlantis is because if you don't have a Legendary Ocean, you can pitch this and automatically get you this. Pitch this, get Legendary Ocean, and then you can normal summon Kairyu-Shin. There's been many times where I didn't run this card and I opened up a Sea Stealth 2 and a Kairyu-Shin, and I'm kind of just there because I can't plop Kairyu-Shin down. So I'd rather, again, just run the 1. You need to see a Legendary Ocean. Even if you see multiples in hand, at least you know that you have 1 in hand always. You need to see that card. And plus I have an ultimate, so why not? So for the rest of the water cards, we are running one Ice Jade Tremora. So as you guys can tell, I'm not running Kaiju in this deck. It is searchable, but I am not running Kaiju. Ice Jade Tremora is a searchable card as well with Ice Barrier. I'm going to be going into that a little later. So the reason why I am not running Kaiju is because there have been hands where I've drawn Kairyu-Shin and Gameciel Kaiju, and I can't get Kairyu-Shin out. I've won the die roll, I've gone first, and I've opened up again Gameciel and Kairyu-Shin, and I just can't really do anything because I can't get Kairyu-Shin on the board. So I just decided to take that out and at least put Ice Jade in. Again, Kaiju is easily sideable. You can side one in my dueling book deck. I'm not siding it, but still, I don't really find that I need it too much. So again, one Ice Jade. This card's actually really good, being just allowing you to special summon any water monster from your hand. You can special summon Mega Fortress or Kairyu-Shin, usually Kairyu-Shin, but it's just a really, really good card, and being able to that you can dump this with Ice Barrier to add it back to your hand to then pitch to special summon, it's not bad. So that is it for the water monsters. For the hand traps, I am running 3 Ash Blossom. It's the most generic hand trap in the game at the moment, and it's pretty good. And then the 3 Nibiru. So I am trying out Nibiru, and Nibiru has been really good on DB rated as well as at my locals. There's a lot of Unchained players. And if you Nibiru them at a really good time, right before they go into Kaiser King, I think that's what they're called, the DD rank 6 that they usually go into. Before they do that, I mean, it's pretty much game for them. They can't really get back into it. So I am running 3 Nibiru in the main deck. But if you guys don't want to run Nibiru, you guys can take a choice and whatever. But Nibiru has actually been so very good for me this format. Unchained just always plays into it. And yeah, so that is it for the monsters. I believe that is 15 monsters. For the spells, I believe is also 15. We are going to go with basically the best spell card in the deck, 3 Legendary Ocean. It's the field spell, essentially. All water. This card is treated as Umi always, and not only that, the levels of all water monsters on the field and in both players' hand become -1, so they lose 1 star, and all water monsters gain 200 attack and defense. This is actually really funny against like Sword Soul because they can special and then their token is water, and then it really discombobulates them. So again, this is one of the deck that lives and breathes by its field spell. You need this card. You need this card. Okay, please. It is a mandatory. If you don't see this card turn 1, you're probably already losing the game. So we obviously want to minimize that. So we play 4 copies of it. Well, actually, we play 5 copies of Legendary Ocean. So we are running the 1 Sea Stealth 2. In other builds, I have run 2. I think this card is really, really good, but I want to stick to a 40 card deck. And it's, again, very easily accessible. So I'm going to talk about it real quick. So it basically makes all your water monsters not being able to get targeted by monster effects that are non-water. So your opponent cannot target your water monsters with effects if their monsters are non-water monsters. And during the battle phase, either yours or your opponent, you can special summon a water monster from your hand or from the graveyard. So a lot of players really skip over that last effect. So I activate this effect usually. My opponent is like, oh, he has nothing in the graveyard. Well, I can special summon from my hand. And then destroy it at the end of the battle phase. So it's really, really good, honestly. I kind of always wanted to play 2, and if I could find room, I really would. But I actually took 1 Sea Stealth 2 out for a Warrior of Atlantis because I kept getting a bunch of hands where I would open up 2 Sea Stealth 2 or like 1 Sea Stealth and no Legendary Ocean and a Kairyu-Shin. And I want to minimize as much as possible because Legendary Ocean lets me really get started. For the consistency cards, we are playing the 3 Fish Sonar. This lets you add a level 7 or lower water monster that mentions Umi. And then if you, we're not using a vanilla in this build because I'm trying my best to be as competitive as possible. I don't want to add another brick to the deck. The deck already is a little bit inconsistent at times. Not all the time, but it's a little inconsistent at times. With that being said, I am running the 3 Pots of Prosperities. I think this card is actually insane in this deck. Honestly, this card needs to get hit or limited or something. But this card's just really good. If you guys don't have this, you guys can feel free to play Pot of Extravagance. We do not run an extra deck. I'm not even going to bother going into an extra deck because this is Umi control, Kairyu-Shin control. So it doesn't really matter. But Pot of Prosperity is way better than Pot of Extravagance for the mere fact that this deck, you don't care about drawing two, you just need like a specific card. So if you have a legendary ocean in your hand already, well, you need Kairyu-Shin. And if you have Kairyu-Shin in hand, well, you probably need a legendary ocean or a way to get Kairyu-Shin onto the field. So Pot of Prosperity is just really good in that regard. Again, we're still in the consistency aspect of the deck. We have 2 Foolish Burial Goods. This is to dump Ice Barrier, which increases consistency of the deck. I will explain that a little bit later. So here we have 3, 6, 7, 8 consistency cards to get Kairyu-Shin as fast as possible. And for the last of the spells, I am running 2 Dark Ruler No More. I used to run this at 3, but again, it was just a little bit cloggy. I would see multiples of them in the hand, and again, I want to minimize bricks as much as possible, but this card is still insane in this deck. You're not going to go into fancy OTKs or really big combo lines. You're just going to normal summon Kairyu-Shin with Legendary Ocean and just kind of watch your opponent. That's basically it. So 2 Dark Ruler No More is really, really good. I think it's pretty insane. If you guys don't want to run Dark Ruler No More, you guys can feel free to run something like Book of Eclipse, Book of Moon, something like that. But Dark Ruler No More for me gets the job done. So for the traps I am well, I don't think it's too much to explain, but I am running 3 Sea Stealth Attack. This card, okay guys, so I see some builds running this at 2. Sea Stealth Attack, it is the best trap in your entire deck. Okay, so the pecking order is Ocean Dragon Lord, Kairyu-Shin is your main boss monster. The best spell in the deck for you is a Legendary Ocean, and then the best trap in the deck for you is Sea Stealth Attack. If you have Legendary Ocean, Kairyu-Shin, and Sea Stealth Attack, you have a really, really big shot at winning that game at least. So Sea Stealth Attack basically states that when this card is activated, you can activate a legendary an Umi from your graveyard or from your hand. So it combos really well with Dark Reef. And then it has 2 effects. Okay, so the first effect states that if you're you can banish a monster you control, a water monster you control. You don't have to target, right? So you don't have to declare which one you just banish. Okay, and then your face-up spell and trap cards cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end of the turn. And then at the end of the turn, you return that card back, that water monster that you banished back. And then it has a second effect that if a level 5 or higher water monster battles an opponent's monster, destroy that monster. So it has a catastor / construct effect. Those are how we get into how we like combat a lot of really big monsters. So I've had a lot of opponents that have, you know, I don't know, attacked with a really big monsters hoping to beat over Kairyu-Shin. Well, I mean, okay, damage step, because this activates during damage step, Sea Stealth Attack, and they skim over that or don't read it, and it loses them the game essentially. Not that they were going to win if I had Kairyu-Shin in this up. 2 Kairyu-Shin's Dark Reef. This card's honestly pretty crazy. I mean, it's cracked, but I think just the 2 of is really good. So essentially, you have to send a face-up Umi as cost to the graveyard, and then special summon up to 2 water monsters that mention Umi in defense position. And again, it has another effect that if your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon a vanilla, but we're not running a vanilla. So essentially, this kind of kickstarts your engine, and this right here helps you set up your entire board. With Sea Stealth Attack, that's basically the combo. So let's just say, you know, you activate a Legendary Ocean during your opponent's draw phase, you flip Kairyu-Shin's Dark Reef, sending Umi as cost, and then Chainlink 2, you flip Sea Stealth Attack, activating the Umi that just got sent to the graveyard, and then you special summon out your 2 water monsters, usually being Kairyu-Shin and Electric Jellyfish in defense position. So there you have your negate, and there you have your control on the board. Or if you already have one or the other, you can go for Mega Fortress Whale, so you can already dig that out of your deck. So it's really, really good. For the consistency cards as well as battle protection, 2 Ice Barrier. So this card has 2 effects. So the main effect is that if an attack is declared involving an opponent's monster, again, this is a non-targeting effect, which is pretty insane. you can make that opponent's monster with have 0 attack. So you can use it during damage calculation, which is a majority of the time of what I do, because a lot less cards can be responded to in damage calculation. So damage calculation, I flip this, and then my opponent's monster gets destroyed. But its second effect, and the reason why we run Foolish Burial Goods with this card, is because you can banish this card from the graveyard, except the turn that it was sent there, and dump a level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to the graveyard, being Kairyu-Shin or Ice Jade Tremora, and then add a water monster from your graveyard to your hand. So this actually works under Droll and Lockbird. So if I'm scared or I feel like my opponent has Droll, this plays around that, because you're not adding from your deck to your hand, you're adding from your graveyard to your hand. So that's really, really good. And then for the last of the traps, I am only running 3. There can be only 1. So usually I like evenly matched, but in place of evenly, I'm putting Nibiru, because with evenly, I always want to try my best to go first. And even though this deck doesn't need a battle phase, a lot of my opponents usually end with like 1 negate or 2 negates now. So I just rather have Nibiru. Not only that, Nibiru plays really well with this deck, because Sea Stealth, the only monster you really care about is Kairyu-Shin, right? So, meaning that if you have a full board, right? So you go turn 1, you draw into Nibiru, your opponent goes turn 2, and you can literally just banish Sea Stealth, banish Kairyu-Shin, and then if your opponent summons another monster, you can activate Nibiru, tribute all the stuff on the field, and then you just bring back Ocean Dragon Lord, and Ocean Dragon Lord can kind of reset your entire board by helping you just reset the entire board. So guys, that is it for the deck. Honestly, this deck has been doing wonders on DB rated. Tomorrow I have a tournament at locals, so I am totally gonna run this deck, and I'm gonna take a lot of people by surprise because they think I've dropped it. So guys, if you like the deck profile, please like, rate, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Catch you guys later.